Hello, tuber tubers and Ubert boobers. YouTube. I am having a little talk at the trailer park today. This is the old guy. Short talk at the trailer park. I just wanted to shoot the breeze with you some. Whatever old guys would be talking about. Probably politics and probably religion. And old guys talk about memories they had when they were a kid. That, some of it seems applicable and some of it just seems like it never even happened, like sure pops, But the old have an opinion and a viewpoint that young folks just can't match. And I'm not saying we're superior, I'm just saying we're different. After you've seen enough sunrises and sundowns go around, it shakes some of your opinions which they tried to foist upon you in public school. And through the environment of the, so-called entertainment business and what they call news and all that junk. A lot of it's just propaganda, but it builds up a false world, a false set of expectations, a false set of things to be angry about as if you were the right one. And so there's a pollution that occurs especially an inundation of media, pictures, images. That's very important, those flashing images. If you think about it, just watch a commercial sometime on TV and just count in your own mind, how long was that image there? Flash, flash. And they're flashing through images on these things. And it's a very powerful process in terms of shaping the way you picture things in your own mind. So you need to kind of get away from people. You need to find a place where you can relax. And of course, I love the sound of moving water and air moving through the trees and things like that. Find a place where you can rest and relax and kind of get back to what's really real on the inside, less the media broadcasting. Well, that's hard to do. We're almost surrounded 24/7. Here we go. I got my favorite smokeroonies and I got a bottle of water down here somewhere. Sometimes I talk so much, my mouth gets dry. It's like, hey, take a hint, big guy. Close that, yeah. It's a Saturday, and I went down and had me a nice old breakfast at my favorite spot now, I guess, Pit Stop. By golly, when that guy cooks breakfast, he don't fool around. And so today was pork chops and eggs. And the young lady who works there, I always like to sit at the bar because the seat is kind of like these steps I'm sitting on. There's nothing to lean against. That means you got to sit up straight. Well, you don't have to, but it's just more comfortable to sit up straight. And it's kind of like what your mother kept telling me. My mother kept telling me when I was born, quit slouching. So apparently I was a slouch, among other things. But we got the day off from work, and I don't know, I might do some laundry or something like that. Boy, working in that mud yesterday, now we're starting to backfill. We got the PVC stuff put together down there yesterday, kind of right just before noon. So we took a little break afterwards, let the glue dry up, and then I went inside and I flushed every bit of water I could all at once and had my young guy down below with a light checking to see that all of the stuff we did was watertight, not a drop of water anywhere. And that's what we need, and that's what we got. So in other words, you don't want to allow roots to ever sense water, especially in a sewer, because they'll just destroy it. Doesn't even matter what kind of pipe it is. Now PVC is pretty tough stuff, but we're dealing with a house that's as old as I am, so it's all cast, or it used to be cast iron down there. And that cast stuff is just, when it goes bad. I mean, what a junky system. It's like, I couldn't believe that they were able to get any water to go through that ever. You start looking in there and it's like, what is all this junk? And anyway, that's probably more information than you needed. I was just thinking today that, the good news that the apostles spread into the Roman Empire and elsewhere. We don't even know how far the gospel went actually in the first generation, but there are claims into Africa and perhaps even as far as India. And so the Roman Empire, when it spread, already had Christian people in it later, in the year 200, 300, 400, while Rome was still kind of a going thing, at least in the west, what we would call Rome, the other half over there, Byzantium, Constantinople. That part of the empire stayed alive for several centuries after the fall of Rome. But at any rate, that's probably more information than you needed. The thing I'm thinking about is as a situation thickens, there's good news indeed, and I think we need to hear it from time to time, and you should say it to yourself, if nobody else. But that's why I do these videos, is just to basically make a permanent record. This is what I said on this day, and I buy it. And so the good news as it applies, you look around, you got governments, you got agencies, you got NGOs, you got billionaires, you got all kinds of weird Illuminati type occult junk going on. Then not to mention the sex traffic and the man stealing. Who knows what's going on? This is outrageously bad. It's an overrun of the enemy is what it is. There's been these people, these things, these ex-angels have been loosed on mankind, and you can see the evidence of it almost everywhere, because it has that same rotten stench. And so it's easy to become depressed, it's easy to become overwhelmed, it's easy to be afraid, because sometimes I'm afraid too, because it's like, man, I don't know what this thing that's coming is, but I can sense it. It's big and it's dark, very dark, and it's what they used to call a god, a little god, a local regional thing. Yeah, but all these things are being busted out at once. Well, not at once, but they're steadily emerging. Kind of like the immigrant status, if you want to know the truth. In a way, the way I see the so-called immigration policy of the so-called administration, it is not an immigration policy at all. It's the reverse of an immigration policy. It says, carte blanche, if you want to come here, you can come on in. Unless you want to come in legally, then you'll have to wait. So they've sort of inverted reality here. And we're going to pay through the nose for it financially and culturally, a lot of ways. People are going to get hurt. And it's already beginning to happen. There's people in the East Coast who are rejecting any more of these so-called migrants. We don't want them. Get them out of here. And where are you going to put them? Ask the so-called administration. They haven't thought this out. And in fact, they're trying to poison the system with a financial overload. In other words, they're trying to break the pattern of what we had as a constitutional republic. And they seem to be doing quite well, if you want my opinion. They're succeeding marvelously. But in the process, they're wounding themselves. They're destroying their own base. They're destroying any trust they may have ever had among any people, that maybe these people are going to give you a straight answer. All that went out the window. People don't believe a word of the so-called administration or the so-called media, the administration's voice in the community. And so I was just thinking, the good news of the gospel comes down to it right where we live. It isn't some far, far away where you're going to sit on a cloud with a harp and see these fat kids with little wings go by. That's a little creepy. I want out of there. Now, think of it as a pine a pine forest, if you like, or think of it as a place that's green and living and broad and wide, and beautiful sky overhead, wondrously good water running by. In other words, when the good Lord remakes things in the future, among you included, raising you back up, that's part of the news, by the way. Death can't hold you down no more. There's nothing to fear except Him. And if you fear Him, He will bless you. I guarantee it. It's just so beautiful. It's wondrously clear once you're in it. But until you get in it, if you're looking at this from the outside, trying to figure out whether you want to get involved, you'll never do it. You can't. Because you don't want to. But people won't say it. They pretend all the time, saying all this stuff with one side of their mouth and doing everything else over here on the other side. And so your walk and your talk should match, And I strive at that. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. I got these darn cats everywhere. I think I need to buy a BB gun. God, I hate cats. Why do people keep them animals anyway? What for? Just, hi, I'm here to insinuate that you're my servant, my public servant. Hey, you're a cat. Shut up. But anyway, I was thinking, in terms of the news, which is so good, There's a spirit response within us. The spirit rises up. Our spirit bears testimony with the spirit who is the spirit of truth, the spirit of God, the spirit of Christ. And we bear testimony about one thing in unison to his glory and praise, King Jesus. He is Lord of all, and that is to say, current governor and owner of this planet as well. And all things are his, entrusted by the Father. And he has indeed busted out of the tomb, or maybe he was raised. Maybe it was a little both. When you read the testimony, it kind of sounds like, on one hand, the Father raised the Son. The other way, Jesus says he lays down his life and he takes it up again. No one can stop him. So was it the Father who raised the Son, or was it the Son who raised the Son? And I say amen. I'm glad he did it. However it happened. You can know stuff and you can know stuff, but if you want to pick nits, you can pick nits till you die, and frankly, nobody cares. You can become some sort of dedicated expert in some narrow little field, but if you miss the big picture, if you forgot the part where you're on the winning side, hold your area. Encroach upon the enemy. Drive them back. You have the authority in Jesus Christ to command demons. We've got to learn to take these things seriously, because there's more demons showing up every day. And there's nothing they can do. They can't touch you. They can't do anything except by the Father's permission. And so you're safe. You're safe in his hands, like a little baby. See a mother kind of carrying a newborn along, real nice and close to the heart. And he carries us that way. And so, or he's like a lion beside us. Who's afraid when a lion's by your side? And he's your friend, or you're his, or have been becoming more so, as it were. We're making a little progress. So I just decided today, I got up and I thought, go get me some breakfast, and now the new place I'm working, I'm gonna have to get back into the pattern of cashing checks. I haven't cashed checks in years because of this direct deposit thing, and I kind of got used to it. I guess I'm getting lazy. But I don't go cash checks with the teller mostly. I just do it at the ATM. And so it's like dealing with a robot, But I figured I'd do that stuff later. Might try to find some fresh fruit at the grocery. I'm kind of running out of that junk. I still got half a watermelon, so better eat that up. But when you chat with an old guy at the trailer park, what are you going to talk about? And I think the thing I want to keep in your mind for the center post today, we're surrounded by a government and these agencies, the ones I mentioned, who intend you no good. They're insisting again, once upon a time in this fabricated universe of theirs, where they get to pump genetically encoded information into your body, and you're supposed to thank them for it because it's free. It's not free. The new price on, I can't remember, one of these companies, $130 a dose. That's $130 for one. Guess what? Uncle Sam's buying that stuff up, snapping it up, and they insist that this must be in your body very soon, or you'll have egregious examples of, say, a runny nose. You might get a sore throat, kind of a cough in the chest, maybe feeling weak. The common cold. That's what they're doing. They've weaponized a coronavirus, and then they came up with a so-called fix for it. And around the world, we're having all sorts of black swan events, statistically speaking, as, say, for instance, a coroner or a mortician or an insurance company might be concerned. Something's clearly afoot. And the only thing that changed is this stuff that they're claiming you must have in your body. I say, nope, ain't taking it. Haven't taken it yet. Why should I? At worst, it was a nasty case of flu when it came along. And the entire world flipped out because they knew it was a novel array of these coronaviruses never would have or could have arranged themselves this way. It was clearly made by man. It's written all over it. And even the science has to say so now. Some of us knew it in 2020. We were called crazy back then. So if you kind of want to know what the big lie is all about, just look around and find out who's pointing the finger and shouting the loudest about somebody done me wrong. And so the authorities say of people like me that I'm essentially a constant danger to people around me. Why? Because I might be spreading something that I'm not even aware that I'm carrying. Okay, you caught a cold. 99.7% survival rate, I think. And something like that, maybe 99.9. Anyway, the point is, we're being sold lies, and the actual ambition, clearly, of those in power, they want to bump you off. They're trying to get rid of people, and they're not even subtle about it. Okay, it isn't like you have to read between the lines. They're still advocating for this in the face of evidence. Now who's following the science? Huh? And it's part of the good news. All these lies will be found out. There are no more secrets. Jesus Christ brings his light, and that's the light of truth, and that's the light of integrity, and that's the light of loyalty to the Father. And he obeys the Father in all he says and does because he's good. It's the right thing to do because God is correct about everything. He kind of does that. It's in his resume. Go read it. But in other words, it's no reason to get gloomy, no reason to walk around with your head hung down. In Christ you have the victory. In Christ you are indeed seated at the right hand, as the apostle says. So there's a kind of a past me when there was a little scooter. There's a current version which is passed by right now. You can't capture the moment. We just, either they flow through us or we flow through them. I don't know what's going on. But you can't even capture right now, the word of now. You're always late. And it's in that now that we live, and he has proven so well, because in the future he has guaranteed us life and liberty and meaning in him, in a place where things make sense, a place of beauty, a place of honor, a place of integrity, a place where he is honored, as is rightly so. It's just the ridiculously least we could possibly do to at least admit that he is in fact who he is, and he has done what he's done, and when he said what he said, he was proven right every time. He's not asking that much of you. He's asking you to stay true. He's asking you to be bold. He's asking you to be kind. He's asking you to be patient. And how's he going to do that? His spirit within you. You're not going to whoop this up. The flesh ain't got it in you. It's not in me, that's for sure. You can't build on the flesh. It's the spirit in you, and your spirit testifying to him. So learn new ways to pray. Praise where you say, you know what, I'm just going to pray hardball here. I'm going to pray for hours at night or something like that. Go find a place where you can commune with your Father and not being distracted by media like this. Turn this video off. Here I am advertising against me again. If you love yourself, limit. If you love your children, limit their screen time. Limit it every day, because it's a mind-bending wizard, and it will pollute you on the way. It will teach you to believe lies and then be afraid of the truth. That ain't the way to live. So the good news is he frees you today, right now, and into a future we can't yet really recognize, although we do know it's grand, we do know it's marvelous, we do know it's a place of just light and gladness and kind of like singing. If you can imagine a real big complicated dance of some kind, like a big, Virginia reel or something like that, that goes on in 19 dimensions or something. I don't know. But it's going to be wonderful. And we already know that. The Spirit has laid his deposit in our hearts, and we've come to believe it. And we say so. So, buck up. Yeah, things are going to get ugly. But he has the victory. And when he wins your heart, he frees you so that you may give your cares to him. Entrust your fears to him. Entrust your distrust of others to him. Entrust, because face it, you ain't getting out of here alive. Unless he is pleased to keep you here long enough to see him come. But then you'll be transitioned at that point. It's got to be at least as dramatic a transition to go from the me like I am right now to the me like I will be up in future time, full of immortal power and light and a gladness which cannot be taken. And he's asking us to get used to that now, because that's the reality that stays. And to operate out of that new center, that center where it says, yes, sir, you come first. Yes, sir, I hear. Yes, sir, I obey. To the best of my ability, give me more ability. I want to grow. See, that's how you grow in the faith. And give time to other people. Listen to them. Listen to see what they have to say. And you can drop in your 2 cents worth if it's asked. But the point is, everybody needs to be believing that at least someone cares about them, some. And you can display that, don't cost you a nickel. And in fact, there's a video I saw years ago that I believe it was a TED Talk, and the lady was saying that one of the interesting markers statistically that showed long life and a kind of a vital, kind of happy, octogenarian or whatever, was a weird thing. It had nothing to do with diet or how much exercise or how many vitamins. It had to do with whether in a public place, like say a grocery store, will you talk with the lady or the man who's checking you out? Will you? Will you treat them like a human? Will you say, how's your day today, or anything? You'll talk to people on the street who approach you. Sir, how are you today? God bless you. Could I please borrow you for some spare change? Or whatever, In other words, you listen to the people in your life who both can do you good, say the grocery clerk, and people who really can't do you any good at all. And if you treat them in a way that says, you know what, you're interesting, I'll pay attention to you. Now you pay attention to when I say, turn in the way you've been doing things, turn it over, just let go of it, and adopt a new and living way that comes as a gift. And you want to know more about it? Yeah. Now we'll talk about the Bible. However you do it, that's your thing. I don't think there's a magic recipe for evangelism, but I think part of the evangel is the light in your eyes, the joy that they see. He's transformed you. He's changed you. You're not the same old goof you used to be. He's better than that. And so, rock on, and I think I'm going to go and put on some socks and go walk on. Rock on, walk on. I think I might go for a walk today. And we'll see how it goes. But it's just a nice, cool morning, and here I am. Look at this. I believe it's already close to 8 o'clock, and I'm still wearing a sweatshirt zipped up, and I'm comfortable. So the temperature's coming down, which is kind of nice. And especially if you got to work at it. Boy, yesterday, I was sweating BBs. Moving that mud is something else. You got to get it sticky or it won't stack. And if it won't stack, you can't fill the hole because you're working upside down. It's like filling a hole from the bottom. It's not exactly easy. We're trying to figure it out, and it's going to go real slow. My idea is to stack them up, not horizontally, at a diagonal slope that'll tolerate the mud tension, because with the clay in it, it'll actually probably hold about a 70-degree slope, we hope, and just kind of build it up in little terraces. But that's by patting in hand after hand after hand of wet mud, and that's exhausting because the mud's heavy. So it's really more than a two-man job, but the problem is there's nowhere for the third guy to go except keep feeding me dirt, but he doesn't need it that fast because he can't pack it that fast. So I wish there was a way I could think of, maybe you can think of it, to be able to fill a hole under a house. You got to crawl under the footing. Now the footing descends probably 16 inches below the bottom of the floor. Then we scoot up to fill that high stuff that you can't reach unless you're in there. But you can't fill it if you're in there. Kind of makes you want to drill a hole through the wall and push the mud in from the outside. Anyway, we'll figure out something, I hope. And that's kind of what I do. Try to come up with novel conclusions to weird issues. And I like trying to, use my imagination, try to come up with something that makes sense and get a good job done. But some jobs, it's just like, how's this going to work? It's like very slow and painfully, we might add. Plus, don't forget to bring the electrolytes. You're going to be sweating bullets. And that's what I do for a living. I move dirt. Peace be upon your house and peace be upon your day. It's only now, right now, that he meets us in the current moment. But we are almost never there. We're always drifting off into the future, or reminiscing, or plotting some kind of thing for the future or past, or trying to somehow change what happened long ago in our own imagination. We're not here now. We're elsewhere in our head. Come back to the now where we are and hear what he has to say. It's good news. Trust me. He loves you. Why? Because he's good. He knows what a rat you are. And that's what he came to save. To turn you back to your Father. Because he's good. Peace be upon you.